Hey guys, my name is Attorney Walter Hnot III. We're going to go ahead and adjust this camera real quick so we can get this ball rolling and get everything good to go. Perfect. There we go. A little bit too high, and there we go. Now, I do see a bunch of people calling in. I'm fully aware of that. I know that we're going to need people to go ahead and get their questions answered, as we always do, because I donate 2 hours per show to essentially go ahead and help people with any questions that they have specifically for disability law. But first, Disability Resolution, I've been working there for 8 years. It's a company I started, a law firm specifically for disability benefits. The other one, spaceconstitution.com, we are still waiting to receive our certification as a 501c3, Howdy Gardner. And basically what that comes down to is we are waiting for them to bless us with our nonprofit status so that we can go ahead and start collecting more nonprofit basically benefits from you guys, other people, etc., to go ahead and build that company and keep going forward with it. But the website's pretty much done. It has launched. It launched on July 4th. We are really excited about it. So that is spaceconstitution.com. Now, I want to talk first briefly, specifically about what's going to be happening with future stimuluses that are going to be coming out. And I need you to understand this. This is incredibly important, and it's really, really necessary to understand this. But here's the bottom line. Okay, when it comes to a fourth potential human stimulus package, we are seeing the Democrats with a significant amount of power to create this reconciliation movement, to go ahead and basically get on board a bunch of individuals who will, cluster together as Democrats to vote through massive budgets. They've done it in the House. Nancy Pelosi has continued to push that, so she's good at it. She knows how to do it. She's been in the system for a very long time. With that said, do I personally believe that there will be another stimulus? Absolutely. And it's going to be a good one. And here's why. Howdy, Florida couple. Howdy, butterfly. Howdy, garden. Here's what's going to happen. In the not too distant future, there's going to be essentially a need to have goodwill flushed towards the Democratic Party. And by and through that goodwill flushed towards the Democratic Party, because of the upcoming 2022 elections, they're going to need to make a giant blessing to the people. And that blessing to the people is going to be a rather large human stimulus. Now, remember, there was a $1,200 stimulus, a $600 stimulus, and a $1,400 stimulus. President Biden has had a rough go of it. Afghanistan did not go well. Afghanistan went pretty poorly, right? They were able to, within a week, take over much of the country, the terrorists. And as a result of that, he's now got to go ahead and bolster how people view the Democratic Party. And by and through that, he needs to kind of take away the blame. He needs to distract, and he needs to boost that people like the Democratic Party. One thing that I did a video on, it hasn't been released yet, it will be released shortly, is essentially what are the priorities of the White House? Now, originally, when President Biden ran to be president on the pre-White House website, so he wasn't president yet, but before that, we triumphantly saluted him with the idea that he basically would push for disability benefits, retirement benefits to be significantly increased based off of the poverty line, a big increase. He would push for new systems to help fund the super trust funds, which is excellent. That's amazing. That's really, really super good, because the trust funds are in really bad shape right now. And it's fearful that they could truly run low, which means people would not be collecting their actual usual larger check. So what that means is we had a president that made a strong promise about including and increasing disability benefits, SSI benefits, and retirement benefits, getting rid of the 24-month waiting rule for Medicare, getting rid of the 5-month waiting rule for SSDI benefits, etc. None of those have happened, but that's okay so long as it's part of the priorities that which the president would want to make. The problem is, which you'll see in the video tomorrow, is that in all of the priorities that the president through the White House website has outlined, none of them include helping out people on retirement or Social Security benefits. Now, that's a problem. And that's a problem for two reasons. Reason number one is that he was the clear line pick for boosting Social Security disability benefits and retirement benefits. He was the guy. He was the one that was supposed to do that. Through Trump, we didn't see a lot of that beneficial stuff. In fact, we saw Commissioner Saul continuously running the Social Security Administration in a fashion that made it harder for people to be found disabled, made it harder for people to be able to collect their money, new rules being applied more heavily, like the one-third reduction rule, etc. So we know that to some degree, the red side, if you will, was not promoting the identity of boosting Social Security benefits. So we threw all of our eggs into the basket of this idea that the blue side would. But it appears now that that was also incorrect. And here's why. There's been no movement, even though they've submitted to the committees, but there's been no real movement on the news, at the White House, on lots of senators coming together, lots of House reps coming together to promote the idea of passing something like the Social Security 2100 Act. Now, the reason why that may be, right? The reason why that may be is because in October, we're going to know how bad COVID has affected these trust funds. They have been producing significant amounts of writings over the past couple of years, specifically 2020 and 2019. And you can see from 2019 to 2020 that there's a big problem. And the problem is not going away. The Social Security Administration on their own cannot fix the problem. The Federal Reserve, the Federal Mint, none of these groups can fix the problem except for Congress. And that is the main issue that we're seeing here with Social Security benefits, with everything that's going on, is that there is no push at the executive White House level to get people on board to go ahead and basically increase Social Security disability benefits or retirement benefits. However, I do strongly feel that before the 2020 election season, you will be seeing another stimulus payment from the federal government. What do I believe it will personally be around? It's got to beat $1,200. It might be another $1,400 check, but it's got to beat $1,200. It has to beat what Trump did with the $1,200 and the $600. It's probably going to be around another $1,400 check, even though that $1,400 check was supposed to be $2,000. So the bottom line here is that we'll probably see it before the holiday season. And I know a lot of you guys are not happy because a lot of the politicians, they went on a very long, vacation. And that made a lot of you angry. It made me angry as well. And they do that. That's part of their gig. And the problem is that we're kind of running out of time, which is funny to say because, I mean, we're in August. We still have September, October, November, December. We have all those months in there. But because of how little these politicians actually meet up to work, the problem is that essentially these politicians are running out of time 2/3 into the year to figure out when they're going to do this big stimulus. Now we know that $3.5 trillion for the infrastructure has passed to go ahead and push this idea of fixing America with this trickle down theory of fix all the bridges, fix all the roads, and then businesses will be able to thrive through that. That is in itself a form of a trickle down, but instead of it being traditional through super rich people, it's the idea of trickle down into the infrastructure needed to go ahead and allow companies to exist and to do better. However, there's a kicker to all of this, and the kicker is the following. If we spend $3.5 trillion on that, and let's say we have a human stimulus package of $2 trillion, and then we have another stimulus package of, let's say, $1.5 trillion, we keep catching up on adding on top of that 11 trillion we've already spent. And that's 11 trillion plus 3.5 trillion, 14.5 trillion, plus another 2 trillion. So now we're looking at 16.5 trillion, plus another, let's say, 1 trillion. Okay, so it just keeps raising and raising. And we only make as a country 22 trillion a year. So the inherent problem is we're running into a problem of spending too much money, with the dollar being devalued significantly, which means that at the end of the day, the money we have is not going to be worth much when we go to the grocery store. Now, food stamps are a great deal for people. They've just been increased in the sense of, what they're going to be in the near future. And buying through that means that people are going to be able to purchase food. Food stamps are going to become significantly more valuable as time goes on because food is going to continuously become more and more expensive because the amount of money it will take to purchase the same thing will be a lot more money. So we have all these things going on. But the biggie of all that's going to dictate what's going to happen is Afghanistan. As you know, 12 Americans have been murdered in Afghanistan, killed as per war. And I see the phone is ringing. I will pick up that phone shortly. Don't worry about it. Unfortunately, because of the 12 murders and the 15 severely injured, I would assume Marines that are there, America has vowed to do something about it. What they'll do about it, nobody knows yet. It's all in the very beginning phases. It might already be underway. That's usually how it works. If Afghanistan continues to be a problem, Afghanistan is going to become an extremely expensive problem. And a lot of people think, oh, that's just the military. It's not just the military. It's also all of the people that have just come out of Afghanistan that now need to be housed, given hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollar bills, given a direction to go, some place to live, etc. So as a result of this, the bottom line is that unfortunately, the most expensive part of this whole situation with Afghanistan, it's the people that are coming out of Afghanistan. And you have to take them out because otherwise they face horrible, horrible potential problems. So what this all comes down to make it very simple, is that the country is spending a lot. They're spending a lot. And the problem is that there's not tons of money in reserve. Specifically for you guys, you all look to me for what's going to happen with retirement benefits, what's going to happen with disability benefits. The OASI retirement trust fund is very low. The DI trust fund is also low. And there's a problem here. In the 80s, they were able to go ahead and get enough money to go into it. And I see people are calling me, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to get those. What happened was they ran out of money with one of them. But they were able to refund it, put money into it with interest in 4 years to get back up to where it needed to be. Which tells us that the government for a long time has been completely and utterly capable of mass funding these trust funds, but they chose not to. They put it on the backs of the American people to pay in what they could, and then they said that's enough. We all know that's not how you handle one of the most important, if not the most important agencies in the United States. It's a toss-up, military or Social Security benefits, safety or being able to have money to eat. So the problem you have here is that the Social Security trust funds never got enough money invested into them beyond what the American people were paying just in Social Security amounts. And what happens now is that, unfortunately, they're running low, and we're not in good times to be able to, take from one person to give to another, take from one pocket and put it into the other. So what I think might happen, and it's not great, but I think they might do it. Rashida Tlaib, Democrat, had this idea, and it's a terrible idea, but they might have to use it because that's how bad things might get. Which is where they make the mint, Federal Mint makes 2 platinum coins, attributes value to those 2 platinum coins. So like how you have a quarter in your pocket, the quarter's worth 25 cents. You have a nickel in your quarter, it's worth 5 cents. You have a silver dollar, it's worth $1, right? Okay, well, these would be platinum coins. Hopefully they'll be big coins, big coins, right? Big coins. But they want to essentially have the mint attribute $1 trillion to each coin, and then potentially have another federal agency purchase those coins, and then have another federal agency do some math wizardry and basically make it okay, which is a terrible idea. But unfortunately, at this time, the trust funds are going to be so low over the next 5 to 6 years that if the legislature, even with taxing more people, they're going to run into still more problems. If they don't magically come up with money for this, then there's a problem. The more Afghanistan drags on the money pool of essentially what people pay in as taxes, and I mean, we're going to have to at this point. If Afghanistan, and never forget, there's other countries out there that want to slow down the success of their competing countries. Competing countries to the U.S. are, of course, Russia, China, India, Australia, Britain, etc. They're all competing countries. And anything they can do to slow down or misdirect a country, they'll do that. It's like with the president. How do you defeat a president? Well, you defeat them with the law. You just keep suing them over and over and over and over and over and over again, so that their mind is always elsewhere. So the bottom line here is that I'm concerned that the whole Afghanistan fiasco, there's no other way to describe it, is going to, realistically cost a lot of money to the U.S. there's a lot of these pet projects that we're going to have to get rid of. There's a lot of endeavors that the U.S. normally does that we're going to have to get rid of. And we're going to have to sit down and refocus our energy towards essentially refunding, putting more money into these trust fund accounts. And then at the same time, you will see, because of the elections in 2022 coming up, most likely a stimulus check before the holidays, or they will use that opportunity as Democrats to almost have a human stimulus occur, and then basically blame it not occurring on the Republicans because the Republicans didn't come to the table. That's not a Republican thing to say or a Democrat thing. That's just basic political strategy. So if people go away for the holidays, no work, sitting there, bitter, without stimulus money, they're going to hate whoever did that to them. And that's either going to be essentially the Democrats or the Republicans. So you're going to see a lot of things being taken advantage of in that when it comes to the holidays. If it's my vote on when this is all going to come down, I think we'll see a check for around $1,400. I think it will be lowered to people making under $50,000. We'll be able to get the check. I think that basically it will happen sometime in early December for people to be able to utilize for the holidays to buy presents and things like that. And I think, frankly, what will happen going forward from there is that essentially we'll be then loading into that whole season of 2022. And remember, the House and the Senate, who knows what's going to happen at that point? They are fighting tooth and nail to be able to keep the strength that they have. So ultimately, guys, kind of the bottom line here is this. More important than the Olympics, more important than Afghanistan, what's going on there is this upcoming 2022 election with people that are in politics. And sadly, Afghanistan is going to become very costly, which is going to draw more attention away from the ability to spend money on the American people. All right, so I just wanted to go through that and explain some basic things. Some people are like, well, what could potentially happen with Afghanistan? So Afghanistan just did a terrorist act with bombs. It's something that they do that essentially killed a bunch of Marines. And America has to respond to that. If the Taliban had been smart about it, they would have, gotten to the deadline, said, okay, you're now illegally in the country, you have to leave, and then done that stuff. That would have been smart on their regard, but they didn't do that. They jumped the gun. And so, unfortunately now, America legally must respond because of the horrendous things that occurred, and they must ethically respond, which they always should in a situation like this, force to force. The other option is that we could not respond as a country, which would make us, and I see as the thing here, cowards. We have to respond. There's no way not to respond. There are now videos surfacing showing the mass of high-end carbine-based or carbine-based, rifles, AR-15s, AR-10s, that are being basically lined up by terrorist organizations to show what America left. It doesn't make sense why America, with their brain turned on, would leave so much gear there. We now know, originally we thought that the gear that was being left in Afghanistan was mostly that kind of gear that was like spare parts gear, right? It was a helicopter that was just there for spare parts, and the rotors removed, or this was removed, right? So they were just using parts from that one to go ahead and put on this one. We now know that there are significant amounts of vehicles, significant amounts of artillery, significant amounts of firearms, significant amounts of stacks of $100 bills, American currency, that has fallen into the hands of the terrorist organization known as ISIS, and also, essentially, it's multiple ones over there, but the big one is Taliban. So the problem now that we face is the following. Can America afford another stimulus? Yeah, they can just keep printing money. Will America continue to print money? Yes. The Federal Reserve has said, I'm going to keep rates really, really low, and I'm going to keep them there, and it's only going to be a short-term thing about things being really expensive. But what they said there was really important. They said things are going to get bad for a short period. And the question then becomes, well, how bad are they actually going to get? And so that's what we look at, is how much of an increase in the cost of living is there going to be? Could be 5.0, 5.2, 6.0, 6.2. We don't know yet. October is going to come out. I know a lot of these other websites out there are telling people about COLA adjustments and this and that. Nobody knows yet, but it looks like somewhere in the upper 5s to lower 6s. I don't think that that's going to be accurate if we continue to keep rates, what people can borrow money at, very, very low. That's what scares me. That rate adjustment problem is one of the main things that's going to hurt our ability to get a stimulus check. The reason why is that if we keep rates low, people are essentially going to be, borrowing more money to spend more money. But something happened in there. Houses or other things to buy, they're starting to become more expensive because it's a seller's market right now. So we're shifting in this scenario as to what is money worth. And we haven't seen money completely devalue because we're going through this transitional period. But I'm telling you this, even if you get $1,400, that $1,400 before the holidays is not going to be worth $1,400 like you got with the last $1,400. It'll probably be worth somewhere around $1,200 to $1,300, which a lot of people don't think about. All right. So here's the deal, guys. I have to go ahead. And basically, I see the embassy and the cash there and stuff. They've got videos now of terrorist organizations showing off massive amounts of stacks of $100 bills that are basically in the country that they've been able to take. Why was it sitting there? All right, so guys, here's the deal. I'm going to start taking phone calls like we always do to kind of get the ball rolling. If you have any questions, post them in the area to the next here, and then we'll get rolling and go ahead and go through everything. Let's call up the first person here real quick. 1 second. Here we go. Hold on. And we're going to, now you guys know how this works. The way it works is I call them, it rings, they pick up, and then we go ahead and put them live. And then at that point, we answer their question or we run hearing questions with them. So here we go, guys. Let's go ahead and get the first person on the phone, and then we'll get rolling. All right. Let's see if we can get this person to pick up real quick. Still ringing? Hi, it's Attorney Walter Hnot. Remember to use a fake. We're through this process. Now, remember, we are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and basically run hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
Yes, hi. My name is Joseph, and I just have a specific question for you.
Sure, good sir.
I am legally blind, and I have disability for that. And the question is, I've been receiving disability, and it's with disability insurance, and I'm in the process of trying to get this set up so I can get my eyes taken care of. It's cataracts, fast-growing cataracts, and then hopefully I'll be done with the whole process. But in the middle of this, I just received a check from a life insurance policy of a friend who just passed away. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that I was told I need to report it. And basically, I've been told several times that if I report this check, which is about $5,000, that I may not be eligible for Medicaid anymore. And it's not a question of disability payments, it's a question of Medicaid. And I've been told that there's a very good chance that they may withdraw it, and I really want to be able to see. So I'm not sure quite what to do here. And I'll shut up in a second and let you do what you need to do. But I do have one more question, which is, in asking around, someone mentioned setting up an irrevocable trust with the money to pay for expenses and things like that. But I've also heard other people say that I can't do that. I can't do it for myself. And I would love to hear what you have to say about this. Any suggestions you have?
So basically, keep in mind, you're an SSDI benefit, not an SSI, correct?
Right.
Okay. So what you have to figure out with the contractual agreement of you receiving these funds, whether or not they're countable or not countable as income. Once you figure that out, you're going to lose 1 month of potential, benefits because you'll be earning over the SGA amount if it's accountable income. But after that month, it will transition into what's called a resource. And at that point, SSDI benefits, whether it's countable or non-countable, doesn't really matter because you're allowed to have, you could win the lottery 1 month and then have it sit there and you'd be ineligible for that month. But the next month, you could just keep all that cash in the bank and be totally fine. So,
Okay.
yeah, kind of the bottom line here that's important to realize is that it's not going to affect you in a horribly negative way. It's just going to affect 1 month if it is countable. Now, with that said, you've got to call them and ask them with your contractual agreement whether or not it's countable or not countable. And here's why. I used to be like, oh, that sounds like, unearned income, blah, blah, blah. And therefore it's, yada. But I've gotten in trouble with that, especially with tri-state contracts where it's to some old program and yada, yada. So my suggestion to you is just call the local SSA field office and ask them if they've ever noticed anything with that particular insurance company and see how it would apply specifically for countable, or rather, it's earned versus, it's countable versus non-countable income. And, what that will likely do if it is countable towards you, it'll hurt you for 1 month. But after that, it's not going to matter because it's just going to sit in the bank and it'll be fine. So you'll lose your benefits for 1 month, or you'll get your benefits and then 3 months later you get an overpayment letter. But basically, other than that, you'll be good to go. You don't need a trust. Yeah, you don't need a trust to set up for that. Just keep the money in your own account. Yeah.
All right. And you don't think I will definitely ask them this, and I will definitely do what you said. So to me, it wasn't completely about the benefits. It was also about Medicaid and whether they could take that back. If that was included in your answer, then I'm sorry if I.
No, you're right. I didn't answer that. My apologies. Let me go into that because that's a good point. Why are you? So you haven't waited have you waited your 24 months to get your Medicare, or are you just stuck on Medicaid?
No, I'm not eligible. I'm not old enough for Medicare. They told me 100 times over. The only reason I ever got any disability at all was because I'm legally blind, and I can't work and I can't drive because of it. But I also had some other health issues which I had to have taken care of, and that was taken care of for me. So the eyes were the last thing in my mind, because as soon as these cataracts are taken care of, I'm absolutely certain that I will no longer be eligible for anything, which is fine because I want to go back to work and start living. So that is, there was no delay. It took a long time for me to apply. I applied in January of last year and only got it in August or September. But I do think it was because of the fact that I'm legally blind. So I don't really know much about the entire program, except that I've heard from several people that the one thing that could happen is because of even this amount, it could affect whether I get any more Medicaid or not.
So the first thing that comes to mind is if you're on SSDI benefits, why are you getting Medicaid? Because you said you've been on this disability program for a while, right?
I would say from September of last year.
There it is. Okay.
So, because I'm not working and because I can't drive. So, but I had a prostate issue. I had to have surgery on that, which was life-threatening, and so that took center stage. And there's been other things going on as well, health-wise. So I'm not really sure I understand all the reasons why. I did qualify for food stamp assistance, and I did qualify for some money just to keep me afloat. But part of that was I did get Medicare, and you asked me why. I didn't write it down enough to know the exact reasons, but Medicaid. I keep saying Medicare, but it's Medicaid, not Medicare.
I gotcha. So here's what's happening. You're still new to the program for SSDI benefits, which means you probably haven't waited your full 24 months from your alleged onset date to have them vest, which just means basically after you wait 24 months from your alleged onset date, you get to have on SSDI benefits Medicare. So that means you haven't waited long enough to get your Medicare benefits, which means that you're stuck with SSI benefits. So at some point, and when are your eyes going to get worked on?
Well, I was waiting to get the GI issues straightened out, and that looks like it happened this month. So I was planning to try to get this done next month. but I'm not sure how long that'll take because I've got to go have them looked at, that I've got to set up the surgery. And, I wasn't sure. I was told over and over again that if I got any additional income in whatever form, I had to declare it immediately.
Yeah.
Or there could be issues. So, anyways, that was my question. I mean, if I got this check a month from now, I would theoretically have this done already, and it wouldn't be an issue. But
all right,
I'm just trying to do the right thing here.
Now, do you want me to give you what I would do, or do you want me to give you like the usual yada? Do you want me to give you strategy, or do you want me to give you like what the textbook template language would be?
Well, in a perfect world, I'd love both answers, but go ahead and tell me what you would do first.
So I know that I've got to have surgery on my eyes, and I know I've got to have it within probably the next year and a half. So what I would do is I would, go ahead and begin having a negotiation with a local field office about the potential of, and wait a minute, I have to look too. Hold on real quick. I want to check out something because I know they had a statute that they were thinking about passing. Let's see. I don't even know if this option will work for you because I know they wanted to get rid of that rule. And did you use any of your trial work period yet?
No, I'm not sure what that is, actually.
Okay, so you basically get 9 months where you get to earn money and during a trial work period, and you get to keep the money for your benefits and keep the money that you earn.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's important.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out if they changed the rule on that because, man, if they change the rule, it's that what I would do would change significantly. How much are you getting per month? Because that's going to affect this too.
About $1,000.
How much would you get on SSI? Isn't the SSI amount for blind way higher than that?
Once again, I'm just sort of hanging in there. I don't really know. SSI, because there was such a long delay between the time I applied and the time that they got around to actually allowing it and sending out starting benefits, they sent me some lump sum things, but after that, they disappeared, So it was mostly just the Social Security payments directly under disability. The problem is I can't see, and if I can't see, reading documents isn't my strongest point. I found a way to scan things into a computer that has a black background and huge lettering.
Sure.
But, it's my best understanding without me being able to really read all of this. And I've had people read stuff to me, but Social Security documents are very dense and, it's not, I'm not 100% sure of all of this.
Here's what
I'm glad it's working. So,
yeah. Here's what I would do. You got 9 months of trial work period where you can work. You got to use those up before you enter into your ticket to work program. I would go ahead and begin having the discussion with the local field office about, first, find a very simple computer-oriented job that you can work.
Okay.
At home, there's lots of those out there. See what you can find, etc. Then I would use up the trial work period and start discussing with the local field office, getting you put onto essentially a ticket to work program. They'll lock you in for that 5 years. Now, when you get your surgery, during those 5 years, they're not supposed to be able to kick you off of the program, the ticket to work program, which means you can work and earn and keep your benefits while working. So you'll be able to see, and then while your eyes are improving, because when you get that surgery, it's not always like magic. They sell it like that, where you're amazing, but it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes there's a road to improvement, So kind of the bottom line here is I would lock yourself into a ticket to work program. That locks the SSA into allowing you to work and earn and let you keep the benefits for that 5-year period. And then as you improve, continue to work. And then after those 5 years, you'll be able to go ahead and you'll lose the benefits, but you'll have a continuous working, you'll have a job, you'll have a career at that point.
Okay.
There's,
yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, there's another thing too. What is the SSI blind amount? Hold on. The SSI blind amount, you can earn as much as $2,190 a month in 2021. So, and the SSI blind amount is significant. So I guess my question to you is, why haven't you talked with them about having you be on potentially SSI blind if you're only getting $1,000, for being on SSDI benefits?
I guess I was a little preoccupied with what was going on, first of all, because it was really between the issues I was facing. I wasn't really healthy enough to be focusing clearly as I could. I was very thankful that I could still, pay the rent and exist. So, but I also, in talking with them, it was a lot of complex issues, and I just wasn't on top of it. I'm not sure I have a better reason for that. My whole goal was that if I had my eyes taken care of, I could move on again. And so I wasn't trying to extend anything. I was just trying to get this done and get the other things I needed to done to get me healthy again, to get out of the system and move on. So I wasn't really looking for anything long term, and I thought I would be done as of November of last year, but there turned out to be other issues involved. So it just turned in. Yeah, I don't know if I have a good answer for that.
Go grab a piece of paper or something to type on. I want to give you a list of things to work on that will hopefully get you in a better place.
All right. Hold on a second. I have a digital recorder. I'll just use that.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay, still there?
So basically what's going on is this. I need you to go ahead and call the SSA and find out what your alleged onset date was. The alleged onset date is essentially the date that you became severely disabled, and that date will tell you how long you've already waited and how much longer you've got to go until you get your Medicare. So basically, whenever they tell you that date, count forward. The next month is 1, next month after that is 2. 24 months from that date forward, and that's when you're going to get your Medicare. Also, start searching and finding a job that's got decent pay that you can do from home, related to whatever, typing on a keyboard, whatever it's, you know what your skills are, you know what your talents are. Find a job. Then you're going to go ahead and start working that job and get them to essentially start paying you. You'll be using your 9-month of trial work period. At about month 3 of your trial work period, if you feel like things are working well with this job, contact the local SSA field office. The way you do that is you go to Google, you type into the Google search results, SSA field office, search by zip code. It'll pop up with the website. You click it, you enter your zip code. It pops up with what your local field office is. You call that number. You say, I want to speak to a regional manager or a manager who can start to talk to me about a ticket to work program to sign up for that. You go ahead and begin the negotiation process with that. Somewhere after all of that, you're going to get your eye surgery. Now, you believe, which I'm a little bit worried about, that this eye surgery is going to be, magic. You're going to have it. The world is great. The world is wonderful, and there's not going to be a problem. I would just like to focus you on the reality that I'm an attorney that sees when the problems pop up, because I see when personal injuries occur, and I see them as a disabled person from the result of those, surgeries that didn't work out well. So assuming everything goes great, cool. You've got eyesight. Everything's going well. That's great. I'm very pleased. Assuming that things don't go great and you need time to go ahead and continue to recover, maybe you have pain, maybe you don't. Hopefully you don't. You're locked into that 5-year trial work period, and you can continue marching forward from there. That way you've got some protection to go ahead and work it and earn and keep that money while receiving your benefits. It gives you 5 years to figure out your future career with everything going on. And the bottom line is you're basically setting yourself up for success financially with your disability benefits and Medicare. But also, final notation, call up the SSA local field office and ask them what would be the amount that I would be able to get as a blind individual if I went on to SSI benefits. And here's why. SSI is only going to give you Medicaid, which you're already dealing with, as opposed to Medicare. But SSI might pay you over $2,000 per month because you're blind.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Perfect, good sir. I'm going to catch the next caller. You have an absolutely wonderful day, okay?
Okay, can I ask one more thing really quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
Very quickly. Okay, so I've been told, again, by many people that everything you're talking about sounds amazing and I will do it. But the question is, I have a check that I'm supposed to declare, and everyone says if I delay on declaring it, because there's a date on the check, that I could theoretically, that they would consider it fraud, like I'm trying to hide it, whatever. And I was told so many times, if you get income of any kind, declare it immediately. And, everything you're talking about is a little bit more of a long-term situation. Any suggestions immediately for this?
Yeah, you're on SSDI benefits. I mean, declare it, cash it, use it, realize 3 months from now you're going to get hit with an overpayment where they're going to want their $1,000 back for that month. And then after that, continue to live your life. But just remember, if you switch to SSI and get that $2,000 per month, you have a $2,000 limitation in your bank. Well, it's higher then, but you have a limitation on how many assets you can have for the long term. So if we're talking about a big check, $200,000, $500,000, then you're going to have to stay on SSDI benefits. If we're talking about a small check, $10,000, $20,000, then you can do a transition over to SSI benefits, because by the time you get that done, they'll go, you'll have used a lot of those funds.
Okay. Thank you so much for all you do, and I appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely, good sir. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the next caller. 1 second. Oh, I'm supposed to call this person back throughout the week. And not a claimant, but a guy I helped a lot. Let me call him back real quick. I was supposed to call him. He called right after 5 o'clock one day, and I missed him. Because when you call right after 5, those are the hardest calls for me to get back to. Because at that point, I take a break for 2 hours. But let me see. Howdy, good sir. How we doing? Yep. Can you hear me okay? Perfect, good sir. We are live on YouTube right now. Let me go ahead and put the speaker on. Remember to go ahead and whatchamacallit, remember to go ahead and not use your real name. Would you like me to answer a question? Or, I already know you don't want me to run hearing questions with you because you're in the good, but walk me through, good sir. What's going on?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Hnot, as well as everyone else. Essentially, Mr. Hnot, I am considering relocating to Mexico, and I haven't been able to get much info, much literature on SSA's guidelines as far as medical sources being abroad and how that affects continuing disability reviews, if it creates more problems. Generally, that's one thing I was a bit concerned about, switching doctors in the U.S. that helped me get on disability in the first place, and then worrying about having to come back for a consultative exam because doctors there are not acceptable medical sources, if that's the case.
So here's the thing. You can move out of the country, but around 6 months after you move out of the country, they're going to cut off your benefits. Because remember, Mexico is not the U.S. It's not a possession of the U.S. It's not like the Virgin Islands. It's not like Guam, etc. So kind of the bottom line is you can't move out of the U.S. or its possessions. I don't know. Did you know that, though?
Yeah, I heard if you're a U.S. citizen on SSDI, you can go anywhere, but with SSI, you can't be out for 30 days.
I mean, I've always known the rule specifically for, essentially all disability SSI and SSDI benefits. I'm pretty sure it applies to both. They don't limit SSI and not SSDI. And look, here's the reason. When they pay you these benefits, if you're going to live in another country, they expect you after 6 months to apply for, some sort of naturalization standing in that other country. Because at some point you're not a U.S. citizen anymore. If you go live over there for the rest of your life, then you're not a U.S. citizen. And then what that means is that, Mexico would have to pay you their version of disability benefits, which are not that good. So, right. So.
Okay. So the general rule of thumb is about 6 months. Returning. If I were to go for 6 months, I'd have to come back here for another 6 months, or just for a few days or weeks.
Look, here's what you want to do. You want to move to an islandy, nice tropical place, right?
Yeah.
All right. And you want to go to a place that, and here's the problem. What people used to do, and you're California, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're never going to be able to afford with the benefit to move to Hawaii. It's just too expensive. And the problem is that, a lot of the Pacific Islands out there that are above Hawaii, it's expensive there because it's difficult to get resources there. The other option is the U.S. Virgin Islands. The other option is Puerto Rico. The U.S. Virgin Islands used to be cheap. It's not as cheap as it used to be. But there's still spots that you can go there that are cheap. There's still ways to get cheap food there. But remember, that's a possession, and there's some crime rate there. There's some issues. There's some culture issues there that are going on right now. So my point to you is that, basically this, I think realistically, you got to find, why Mexico? We should start there. Why Mexico?
I figured with the back pay that I received, a lump sum, and my SSDI is about in the 700-800 range. I figured if I can drop the cost of living down by a half to where I'm paying like $200 a month, then I can really save a lot of money and continue to grow savings. That was the original goal, is to try and save savings and increase wealth.
Well, you're not going to do that on the islandy areas. Like, the best place where you're going to be able to save money are the cheapest countries, or the cheapest states. And the cheapest states are like, North Dakota, South Dakota, stuff like that, or parts of Louisiana, parts of Kentucky. Those are the cheapest places to live. The standard of living in those places is also very, very low. You go to Mexico, I mean, you could be there for 6 months and try and save money, but remember, to relocate there, that in itself is going to cost money.
Yes.
All right, let me tell you what I would do if I were you and I wanted to save money. Because tonight is like, people are calling in with some tough questions, and they're not like, hey, let me look up what the statute is questions necessarily. They're like, how would you wiggle through this one? If I were you and I wanted to save money, I would find the cheapest way to live for an extended period. How many months do you need to really save money to be okay?
I mean, right now, I think my back pay is somewhere in the 18,000 range. And I'd like to, if I make it to like 50 or 60, I'd like to have about 50, 60 grand, or if possible.
All right, so let's do some basic math. Let's bring out the calculator. Real quick, how much is your monthly?
Right now, it's about $800.
$800. All right, and how much? Well, you're going to need all that to live. I mean, that's the reality of it. You're gonna need every penny of that to live per month. So, all right, and you got 18 grand in the bank, right? All right, and this is a tough situation. This is not an easy hypothetical, because there's not enough money there to make things work, which is why you're giving me this call. Sorry for not calling you back the other day too. I had it on my little list over here, but the bottom line was that I missed it. But All right, here's what you got to know. You got to find somebody with a piece of land that you can have, a legal RV on that has the basic hookups, which is your power, your sewer, and your water. Those are the three things that you need. You need to pick a place that's middle temperature in the country that basically isn't going to have high costs when it comes to heat and high costs when it comes to AC. You have to have reasonable transportation to be able to go and get food. And you have to have reasonable entertainment, which means you're going to pick either Disney Plus, Netflix, or, HBO Max or whatever. But one of those you're going to have to pick and have a way to watch them. And the bottom line is what you're going to do is you're going to rent, essentially, that setup for $250 to $300 in a very cheap state. And you're going to have, very minimum food restrictions for an extended period. And you'll be able to save $200 maybe a month. But, if we take, if you've got 18, right, that means that you need 32. If you take 32,000, right, and you divide it by 200, that's 160 months, which is not what you want. That's not good. I mean, there's 12 months, to a year. So if you divide that by 12, you're looking at 13.3 years, 13 and a third, to be able to get up to 50,000. There is another option here. Are you on SSI or SSDI?
SSDI.
All right. So why aren't you using your trial to work period and your ticket to work options to try and boost the funds and make something happen like that? I mean, now look, what most people do in this situation is they go find a job under the table. But as an attorney, I can't obviously advise that. But
Right.
what is what kind of options? I mean, look, it's not going to work at $800 a month. It's not. Like if you had $1,200 a month, you could put away $400, and that would cut that whole thing down. That maybe you could do a little bit more. You get to around 6 years of doing this. But otherwise, it's not possible. Because remember, wherever you move, when you move out of California, it's expensive. California, everything is almost that and a half or that or twice as much to move for any rental vehicles or whatever. Because let's call it like it is, everybody's moving out of California because the politics are crap there. It's like there's Democrats here, then there's California, which is off the map. So, I guess what I would say is you moved. All right, look, I'm going to say this too. And I'm not saying you can legally do this. I'm saying you cannot legally do this. But if you moved to Mexico and you had a bank account in the U.S., you could have the bank. You could have the bank in the U.S. go ahead and receive the funds, and then have somebody go ahead and move the funds and send them to you. Down to Mexico, and then you could receive the funds there. I'm not saying you could legally do that. You legally shouldn't be doing that. But I know people who have done that.
Okay.
There's another option too. Well, I mean, there's fun options, winning the lottery, which is never, that never happens. We all play, but we never, There is another option too, which is that I don't know. I don't know. No, I wouldn't say that that's even an option. What I would say is this: the people who do it illegally, they go to Mexico, they live down there for cheap, and they basically have somebody in the States mail them their money. Or they go to a cheap state in America they live in. And I always tell people this, and people don't listen. But you want an aluminum trailer to live in, an aluminum skin trailer to live in. You do not want specifically a fiberglass trailer to live in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to paint the top of the aluminum trailer with a fiber-based paint, kind of like Cool Guard. If you really want to get into it, you spend $150 and you cover all of the rivets with, an epoxy type that's used for boat hulls that are aluminum boats. And that's how you basically keep it from raining and ruining your stuff. All right. Aside from that, keep in mind I work with the homeless all the time, so I know how to basically make somebody live for hardly anything. And there's another thing too. You got to be careful with your water source, because if you're taking it from the hose, a lot of people get sick from that because the amount of parts per billion of heavy metals that are in that hose very high. A lot of people don't realize how high those parts per billion of heavy metals are essentially being put into their body. So you might become very sick from using that, and you might have to bring home and buy a lot of water, you know?
Right.
You know, you got lead, arsenic, you got chromium, copper, magnesium, all that stuff. So you kind of got to be careful as to what you're willing to put in your body with water. And there's another thing too, that you know, wherever you go, you have to imagine that there's going to be a problem that's going to put you back a year in your savings. That's why getting $800 a year is just a no-go. That's why they need to pass the SSI and the Restoration Act and the Social Security 2100 Act. Now, you're a guy that usually researches stuff. So what did you find in your research after spending days and days and days and weeks and weeks and weeks working on it that you think might work for your situation?
I believe either, like you suggested, finding a rural area in the South, maybe somewhere like Alabama, Louisiana, or Florida, and renting an RV on someone's land is one option, as well as, because I know assisted housing wait list will take years for that. And the other option is going a little bit past the California border, a little bit down past Tijuana, not too far from the U.S., just coming back once or twice a year to cross the border to get medical treatment, and then go back. Those are the two things that I really had in mind, is Mexico and the southern part of the U.S.
I'm going to tell you the same reason I will never be investing a house into the Great Loop Islands without there being major political and law enforcement changes. You don't want to be in a foreign country where the main language is not your own when something bad happens. And something bad happens can be extremely small, but completely ruin your life. For example, if you are storing money and somebody robs you, for example, if somebody attacks you and you're getting the medical treatment that Mexico has to offer for people who are not really supposed to be there for Medicaid, or Medicare rather. So you really want to be in the United States, because when the police officer shows up, you're dealing with that standard as opposed to the Mexican police. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's another thing too, which is that, if you want to save up 50 grand, what are you trying to buy for 50 grand?
I guess the biggest thing, to be honest, Mr. Hnot, is having, I wouldn't be upset if I lost, as long as I didn't net any losses up until close to retirement age. I think, because once you're 65, you don't have to worry about any reviews or any of things of that nature. I want to be able to set aside some attorney fees in case I had a CDR that was challenged. But other than that, it's just a matter of really maintaining savings and not losing savings. It would be a bonus to be able to get 50 grand.
So wait, let me ask you this. Why are you trying to hit 50 grand? Like, what are you trying to buy that's expensive?
If possible, just have a bit of a nest egg in case of like medical emergency. But then again, I'd be on Medicare. But I've always dreamt of having like a tiny house. If that's not possible, that's okay. But yeah, it's just being less dependent towards my biggest concern with SSDI is throwing away a bunch of money where I'm supposed to be near the SSI amount, the 2K assets, dependent on such a program, SSI program. I want to be able to be a little bit more self-sufficient and less reliant on like the SSI program.
It's tough to hear you, but look, if you're looking to basically have a small piece of land and a house to build on, then you don't need 50 grand for that. And I realize you live in California where you're like, 50 grand will never buy that. You don't need 50 grand for that. What you need is 20 grand. That's all you need for that. You could go to Georgia, you could go to, Louisiana, you could go to, any one of those southern style states in an area that's just, beautiful countryside. Get a small little plot of land, get it zoned, and then basically get, some sort of trailer home that you can go ahead and put on and live in. You don't need 50 grand. You can do it on the cheap for 20 grand. Now in California, you would need at least $2 million.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, but bottom line is you go to unincorporated county land, country road stuff, you'll be just fine. You don't need 50 grand. You need like 20 grand. So, and the other thing is, why haven't you reached out to Habitat for Humanity? I mean, they'll build you a home.
Okay. Yeah, that's an idea here.
Yeah, I would. If I were you, I would reach out to Habitat for Humanity. Let them know what your deal is. Let them know that basically you want to find a spot. Check with them, make sure everything is cool for the plot of land that you find. Start searching for plots of land. Get signed up for that program where you can see the tax deed properties. That way you can potentially buy a tax deed property, somebody that didn't pay their taxes on it. And then at that point, you could potentially buy a piece of property for 5-6 grand to 10 grand and, put a place on it, have Habitat for Humanity help build one. And during that time, find a trailer, make it work,
Yes.
But you're from California, and California don't know about the countryway. So I got to tell you, So, indeed. But have you ever lived in a country environment where you're seeing like tractors and fields of corn and like, the local store is not a Walmart?
Yeah, a few years back, I volunteered not too far, a little bit outside of New Orleans. And I did some volunteer work, and it's really gorgeous down there. But I understand it's a lot of work.
It is, but the thing is, when you own a piece of land and you own the house on it, it's yours forever until you die. So I would think about that. I would contact Habitat for Humanity, see where which areas they can help you with, and then kind of go from there. Because what you're talking about does not require $50,000. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Knott, I appreciate that. And lastly, I was curious, Mr. Knott, after investing all that, let's say 5 to 6 grand on a plot of land to help from Habitat and Humanity, or the other option you suggested is straight up getting a small house. One of my biggest concerns is if I got challenged from SSA, the CDR, like a long form turning into your benefits are discontinued, and having to do a contingency appeal with an attorney, which typically may run 4 or 5 grand. Do you think I'll still have enough funds left if it came down to that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you get a long form, what's your current age? I forgot.
35.
I mean, look, you're going to have 7 or 8, maybe even more CDRs through the rest of your life. And the bottom line is you just have to keep going to the doctor and showing how you're getting worse, and you'll be okay. A lot of people worry about these CDRs incessantly, but the truth is, if you just keep going to the doctor and it shows that you're getting worse, which usually does as you get older, then you will be fine, And if you're not, you can always call me. You do call me all the time. So, yeah. So I can barely hear you, good sir. Are there any additional questions before I pop over to the next caller?
Well, I think that's it, Mr. Knott. I really do appreciate your guidance about this whole process. I think the top 50 AOJ questions was really helpful. Really helped me out understanding the household activity as the base foundation and the bullet points of when did your disability begin? How did it affect your work? How did it affect your life? I think these are the things that a lot of your viewers who are listening can benefit from, and I encourage them to watch those videos. Really, really instrumental to me.
Excellent. Well, good, sir. I will catch you later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thank you, Mr. Knott. I appreciate it. You too.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
So we're getting some tough questions tonight. We're not getting like, what is the number for this? How does this work, in a regular? We're getting like how do we finagle this incredibly difficult situation? Which is good, let's go to the next caller here. Keep things rolling. Let me see. Okay, here we go. And this one. Keep in mind, I just try to look for people who called and who was the original person who called. You guys know how this works. It rings, we pick it up, we talk to them, etc. Usually takes a couple of rings because people have to wait 15, 20 minutes to go ahead and get a hold of me. But either way, 9:30, we got about 30 minutes left. Let's take a couple more calls. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this person on the phone real quick and then go from there. I'm not hearing the person answer. We got another person calling in, so I may be taking that person shortly. Let's see if we can get this person on the phone. Okay, I can't get that other person on the phone. We're switching to this person right now. Okay, give me one moment. Hold on. Let's see what we got here real quick. One seckaroo. Let's get this. Calling phone number. Or they're calling me back. Accept. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific?
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Okay, here we go. Hi, my name is Attorney Walter Hnot with Disability Resolution PA. Remember to use your fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
Thank you, Mr. Walter. My name is Michael. I got a specific question.
Sure, good sir. How can I help you?
It is about the ABLE account. I would like to have some direction so I can begin saving money for a car.
Gotcha. So walk me through where are you at with the process? What have you learned? What are you worried about?
I haven't started anything with the process. I just started receiving my SSI in January of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I got my final payment coming up around December or January. So I wanted to use that last bit of payment to get it secure into some kind of account, thinking the ABLE account, so I could then start growing it to, have my first car loan and not be raped with interest.
How old are you?
I am 47.
So you're way too old for the ABLE account. Yeah, because it's a 26-year cutoff line, but you can usually finagle it a little bit if you're like 27, 28 to try and get retro pull for alleged onset date. All right.
There's really no help to save money then. I'll have to save it in someone else's account. Basically.
Well, you can still have people put money into a trust account that you don't have direct control over what happens, and then have those funds basically distribute to you as the beneficiary. So, a grantor will create the account, a trustee will watch over and make sure that the funds are distributed, but you can't have any intentional capacity to go ahead and, alter the path of those funds. It runs as it runs kind of gig. So
well, that would work though.
Yeah. So there are disability trust funds that you can set up. I don't personally do them right now because I'm working until 2 a.m. and my life is, it's a wonderful, wonderful just happiness. But I will say this, you can set up a disability-based trust, have people put the money into it, and still be able to get those funds coming in, which will get you around some of the... Now, are you SSI or SSDI?
SSI.
Okay, so if you're SSI, those are tougher ones. You've got income limit restrictions, you have resource limit restrictions, you have all kinds of things going on there. So my suggestion to you is, and I don't know what state you're in, go call around. Of course. One of these days I'm just going to have to write one up for somebody, but go call around, go search Google for people who set up trust funds for disabled people. I could do it. I don't have time right now. Maybe I should.
Exactly. You're a busy man.
And
you do so much good.
Thank you.
It's understandable.
Yeah. Remember, I'm doing this, and at some point I'm going to be a space law attorney, and then at some point I'm going to be an animal rights attorney, and then I'll receive my highest level of promotion, which will be a beach bum. I'm working on that. So indeed, that is the end game. That is higher than beach bum is higher than owner, is higher than attorney, is higher than president, is higher than CEO. Beach bum is the nth. That means you won.
It's a dream.
It's the dream. It is, you get a big towel, you get a big umbrella, you get a big chair and something in the hand.
And an even bigger boat.
Exactly. God, the last thing I need is another boat. All right. So let's talk about this. You need a trust fund account set up for you. And what's the goal here? Is it just to save on tax? Like what's the goal?
Well, the goal is I've never owned a nice car in my life. I've always made minimum wage. Actually, the most money I ever made in my life was around a little over $9,000. So actually be on SSI, I feel a little rich because it's a little bit more than I've ever had. But the issue is, I would like to be able to save up a significant amount of money. And so since that last check's coming is going to be around $3,000 or $4,000 for me, I've never put that much down on a car. So I want to not have to rush when I go to get a car, and thus I want to keep adding to it because I would like to pull off something, that is well over $10,000 or $15,000. I want my first car loan, and I want it to be good. Actually, I'm after a classic is what I want. I want a muscle car.
So what you want is either a Shelby Cobra or a Shelby, or rather a Chevy. I mean, you got multiple options there. Which year and model do you want? What you want a Chevy? Okay.
I am after a Chevy Camaro, Firebird, or Trans Am. Doesn't matter.
What year?
But something I can specifically from the 1980s, from 82 to 92.
Okay, then we can be friends. All right, so bottom line, those are not super duper expensive cars. I see them all the time, on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace that are fixer-uppers. What knowledge base do you have with working on vehicles from that era? And more specifically, have you ever swapped an engine?
I've never swapped an engine, and unfortunately, I only work on little RC cars.
But ironically, that is really good knowledge base right there. You know about
Really?
Yeah, you know about the struts, you know about power, you know about the base. Yeah, that's great. Compared to somebody who has no idea what's inside a car, that's amazing. That's really amazing. That's really incredible. Your ears are trained to listen for things. You probably never thought that was important. That's incredibly important.
No, actually, I haven't.
Yeah, no, that's great training, man. Let me tell you.
Get picked on it.
No, that's amazing. No, that's actually really. I mean, that's good training. Now, are these electric or gas powered? What kind of RC cars?
Both. They're nitro and electric.
Yeah, man, you got great training for this. You're gonna be just fine. Let me explain to you the most difficult thing when it comes to a vehicle.
Okay.
A vehicle from that era does not have a plug-in chip option to have a chip reader where you can figure out exactly what's going on. I know I see Flora Couple being unhappy. She's one of the people that is an amazing subscriber who's unhappy with that type of car. But we love you. No worries. She wants a Fox body. Yes, Fox bodies are super cool.
Oh, the 5.0s?
Well, I mean,
beautiful.
Yeah, 5.0s are super. But here's the thing. If you want to really do this thing, you have to.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so here's the deal. You have to use programs that search all of Facebook Marketplace on the internet and all of Craigslist on the internet. There's programs out there that you can use in Google. Then
right now, I've just been using Car Gurus.
No.
And that's like a 50-50 people been telling me.
No, you don't use Car Guru. No. No, you're going to do this like a picker. You got to find this thing. So, all right, here's what you do. You go ahead and search the entire United States using programs that search these used vehicle yada yadas. And you're going to find a deal. You're going to find a good deal. And then you're going to have to use your sales skills to get that car. But that car has to be drivable because you have to get it back because you don't own a truck and you don't own a trailer, I'm assuming, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you're going to need something where the transmission works, the lights work, and basically the engine works. Other than that, nobody cares. The tires are crap. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if a little bit of body paint work, whatever.
Exactly. I just want something I can put my money into for the rest of my life, and I know it's a good thing to put my money into, I have a 17-year-old who one day it could be his.
Okay. So here's kind of the deal. You are going to need to learn about swapping crate-based engines and essentially the transmissions that should go with them. And you're living in the era where basically there's lots of them that are available all over the place. So if
it become like a thing or something.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Do you have any buddies that are mechanics? Any at all?
Yeah, I got a couple of friends. They've done some swaps and stuff. It's Japanese to me when they talk about it, but they've always told me that, hey, when you get yourself a V8, you're going to have our help. You're going to learn,
Yeah. They're
very confident in what they do, so that makes me confident.
Here's the thing. When you buy a vehicle, and it's a vintage vehicle, you need to go ahead and buy what's called Marvel's Magic Oil. If you need to get this vehicle home and you want the least amount of problems going on with it, you put in no ethanol fuel into it, and you put in Marvel's Magic Oil, and you drive that thing with a AAA card in your pocket to get it home.
I have AAA for sure.
Yeah, that's the cheapest way to get a vehicle home.
I love AAA.
Yeah, so the bottom line is you get it home. You're going to need tools by Ryobi. They're the cheapest, that last the longest. Or if you got a Harbor Freight nearby, you can go that route. You don't need to buy a lot of tools, but the most important ones that you're going to need are a cherry picker, along with, for example, your basic screwdriver, your what's it called, hammer, screwdriver, whatever that's. Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll need a torque wrench. You'll need some sockets, etc. And you'll need some funnels. That's the main aspect of it. When you buy a vehicle, the most important thing when it's an old one is to check the oil, because it's usually going to be muddy, bubbly, and milky. And if that's the deal, you get somebody over there to change the oil to give the engine the best possible chance it can. Do that before you even start it. If you know you love it, just get them to change the oil. You take that risk of losing the money of paying somebody to change the oil on it.
Right.
If you can't do it yourself. I could do it myself, but I don't know where you're at with the spectrum of it.
I can definitely do oil changes.
The next thing you're going to look at is the underside of the vehicle. If the vehicle was in a salt state, where they put salt down for the snow, like New Jersey, New York, etc., then you're going to see a lot of rust, and you're going to see rust specifically on where the chassis meets the body, and that's bad. You don't want that. You want a dry state. You don't want a snowy state car.
Okay.
The next thing that's
basically stay away from New England then.
Yeah, stay away from. Where are you based?
I'm in Florida.
Oh yeah, you're in Florida. All right, so basically you're going to be buying. All right, the state, the place that has. I'm going to tell you a secret here. The best vintage vehicles where people run into financial problems and they need to get rid of them is Middletown, Florida. Middletown, Florida is in the middle of nowhere. It's by Jacksonville, kinda. And Middletown, Florida, when you search that area, they've got tons of vintage cars there that you can pick up for really cheap. Yeah.
I think I heard of that place.
Yeah, that's the point. It's like the best held secret, which I've just divulged and made a mistake, but there it is.
Very cool.
Yeah. So what you need to know is, kind of the bottom line here is that once you get your vehicle and you get it back, you need to find a way to make sure people aren't going to steal it, because if it's a cool car, they're going to steal it. So you need to install.
And the older cars are the easiest to steal, correct?
Oh yeah, by far, because there's no security on them. So the first thing you're going to install on it is a kill switch. So look up how to install kill switch on a vehicle. That's just a little switch that usually sits under the seat, but you have to put it somewhere where people aren't going to guess that it is. And I got to tell you this. Use marine grade products. You use wire, get Ancore wire. You use switches
and hardware, correct?
Yeah, all the marine stuff. You don't have to get 316 stainless, but get stainless. When you replace a bolt, replace it with stainless. So yeah, if milky blown head gasket, David D is correct. That's usually what you're looking at. So the whole point here is, when you replace things on the car, replace it with good wire. That's Ancore wire, marine wire, because that's tinned wire, which means the copper has all been tinned, which means that you're not going to get a spot where it corroded 3 feet into the wire, and then all of a sudden the thing doesn't work. You shake the cable, it starts working, then you got a connector, or you got a bad wire. So kind of the bottom line here is you do all of those things, you should be good. But remember, the first thing you buy for the car once you get it back, or when you've officially paid him and you got the title in hand and you're excited, is a cover for the car. That is also even if it is just sitting inside. And the reason why is when you have a cover on a car, sometimes the cars are leaking things such as, fumes, etc. And that cover, when you pull it off the first time, is going to tell you of any potential dangers or harms because you're going to be able to smell it. So that
it'll absorb it. I see.
Yeah, that's important because not everything in a car is well, some things they light on fire. So you gotta be careful in that regard. Anyways, I can see people are having a war over essentially what kind of cars they want. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you get back to the SSI stuff. I appreciate it so much.
Perfect, good sir. Have a wonderful night. I'll catch you later.
You're wonderful to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye. So, funny story. When the law firm, remember how I was trying to get an SBA loan, guys? And because all the other law firms were able to get SBA loans, but I was not, because they said essentially that I had kids that I was not paying for. Like there was back child support that I had to pay. I just so you guys know, I don't have any kids. I've never adopted kids. I have 2 doggy children, but I have no kids. So anyway, throughout this process, I survived the worst part of this whole pandemic without the SBA loan, which all these other law firms tapped into. The way I did that was that I sold my 1959 Chevy short bed deluxe fleet side, which absolutely killed me. Yeah, that killed me. But I made it as a law firm when all these other law firms had to get a loan. So it is what it is. All right, guys, let's go on to the next phone call real quick. We're probably going to do one more at this point. I see one right here. Let me go ahead and tap that phone number and we'll get rolling on it. Here we go. Yeah, Karina. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. We are live on YouTube right now. Remember to use a fake name throughout this. Would you like me to answer a real question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you?
I would like to have you answer a couple of questions for me.
Yes, good sir. How can I help you?
Okay. My name is Will, and I have questions about when people get approved for Social Security. I got approved a couple of years ago for having ADHD, and they're telling me that it is 100% required that I have to do counseling to be able to still qualify for Social Security. I have other physical issues that kind of make it hard for me to comply with everything that they want.
So real quick, good sir, it's super hard to hear you. Is there any way that you can put me on or off speakerphone, or maybe on speakerphone? Just try a different option.
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Thank you, good sir.
Is that any better?
That's a lot better. Okay, just summarize what you said before. Help me out. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little bit nervous about some of the things that go with Social Security because I really don't know anything about what the requirements really are. And when I got approved a couple of years back, they approved me because I have ADHD. And when I went to the Social Security office and asked her, she said to me, I don't have to do anything else. But people are telling me that I have to absolutely do mental health counseling because it was for ADHD. Is that true? I mean, do I have to do counseling?
Well, I mean, don't you want it? I mean, don't you want somebody? I mean, if Medicaid is going to pay for it, are you Medicaid? Are you SSI or SSDI?
I'm SSI.
All right. Yeah. I mean, look, they're going to be doing CDRs on you. So they expect you to go and continue to receive medical treatment for your ADHD. And obviously some form of mental therapy review, psychologist, psychiatrist, etc. Any one of those options, they're going to be looking for continuous medical treatment to see if you are still disabled under the rules and regulations. So yeah, I mean, they're going to expect you to go and see other doctors, try out different things. They're going to expect you to be doing stuff. Yeah.
Okay, and the other thing I was wondering about was the fact that I have physical limitations now too, as well, that have come up in the last few years since I've been on this. And I was wondering if I should be letting them know about the medical issues that I'm coming up with, because I've got things that are really disabling me from being able to go to work or anything like that. I can't really get out of the house very often because I'm just sore all over the place. I got problems with my liver and everything, and some of my physical limitations are totally, they're just not really there. I don't have the energy anymore to do half the stuff I used to.
So look, what the really smart people do when it comes to fear of CDR and ADHD individuals, they tend to worry incessantly about the potential of that coming up. So the best thing you can do is constantly, every time you go to the doctor, send a letter or send a fax message to the SSA with an update of when you went to that doctor. And that's right in line with what ADHD people tend to do because they're always worried about it. But remember, when they look at this claim, they're going to be looking to see if you improved. That's the main aspect of the 8-step sequential process that they apply throughout the CDR-based process. So my suggestion to you is, and this is very incredibly important, you want to go to medical professionals who are willing to see the struggles you're having and not throw you under the bus and say how wonder their medical treatment is working, but rather explain that you are not getting better, that you're actually getting worse.
Right. Yeah, I feel sometimes that my mental health is getting a little bit better, but my physical being is starting to finally fall apart. I mean, I'm like almost 60 years old, so it's kind of, I've got all sorts of physical limitations. But, so that's pretty much, I do have to continue with that counseling then, right?
Yeah, you should. Why not,
Okay. Well, because I have a fear of people and stuff like that. I have a lot of issues aside from just the ADHD. I've got other things going on too, but they're not that as bad as the ADHD.
So my suggestion is get as much medical treatment you can and as many opinions as you can and explain all the problems that you're having so that these individuals that are reviewing your claim are fully aware of where you're at with things. Because look, you want to have as many doctors on record saying you can't work, and finding doctors that'll fill out RFCs to explain how you're still severe, that's gold for your particular situation.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess that pretty much answers what I needed to find out. I've had a lot of people tell me both sides of the fence, and so I didn't really know what to do, and I'm afraid to call them and ask them, because I don't like dealing with them kind of people down there at the office. So,
yeah.
But, okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely, good sir. Have an absolutely wonderful day.
And you as well.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Yep.
Okay, guys. So if there's another person who wants me to do a phone call, we can always do one for around 10 minutes. That's fine. So if you want to call in now, I probably missed somebody to call back. I'm not sure, but just help me out. If you're still around and want to do a phone call, here's the phone number real quick. Now, with that said, I just want to close off this video with a basic understanding of what's going to... Oh, howdy. Okay. Howdy. I'm going to tell you to not use your real name, even though that would not work properly. Walk us through. How's it going?
I need laughs, and I'm driving, so I cannot see anybody in the comments. So I have no idea what you're saying, so don't be mad at me.
Yeah.
I am trying to find cheesecake currently, and self-medicate. So that's what we're doing.
That's good. That I find that when you put the pain pills inside the cheesecake, that's the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then
Yeah.
a little bit of chocolate. I mean, are you a chocolate or a strawberry sauce on the cheesecake kind of person?
I tend to be a strawberry sauce. I tend to like a lot of fruit. In fact, when I go to the Marble Slab and buy ice cream, which I never do because I become very cheap with myself. So the bottom line, like if I go to Marble Stone or wherever it's called, where they mix up the ice cream, I have them do
Right.
double berries, and then I have them mix it all with vanilla. That's super creamy, like a French vanilla, and then they charge me like $10 for a ridiculous amount of fruit. It's just a purple bloody mess of fruit.
You did that at Dairy Queen that one night, remember?
I
You
did.
that at Dairy Queen.
I
and
did.
Then you're like, do you want to try my ice cream? It was a smoothie. It was not.
It was
blizzard,
amazing.
guys. Like you get a blizzard from Dairy Queen. He asked for so much fruit. It was watered down like a smoothie.
It was amazing.
It was gross.
Amazing. You don't even know, because that was just, you had it. You were like, oh, that's wonderful. Sure.
It was all right, but it just tasted like pure banana at that point.
It was so good. It was so
It was
amazing.
rigged.
I love it.
The
I mean, that's
ratio to fruit was bad.
so you had a tough day, and I
I
understand
did.
on a scale of tough days, that was probably a 9. Jeez
Right.
Louise.
Right, and I can openly talk about it. It's fine. I'm not going to give all the details, but it's real life. So guys, I'm just going to give some advice really quick, and then if you guys want to give me advice, you can feel free. I won't see it right now, which is probably a good thing, but I'll replay it later. So when you have a co-parenting relationship, right? Like you're divorced, you have kids, and there's 50-50 custody or 60-40 or whatever it is that you have. And who in the hell would have thought in the middle of a pandemic you would one parent is trying to keep their kid like underground, right? Like you're trying to keep
It
them
could have been a horror
glued
movie.
apart.
It could have been, but it wasn't. It was filled with you
Huh?
driving. It could have been a horror movie where they felt like they were trapped in a cube, but it wasn't. Tell them the
Right.
truth. You would drive from fast food place to fast food place for each one of your kids to get them the different fries that they wanted. Tell them the truth.
I actually would, but that's a different topic. That's different. No, but like guys, okay, so I know some people are not as crazy as I am about this COVID thing, and I've had COVID before, so it's closer to home for me. So, I'm trying to protect my kids and all this stuff, and I won't go into details, things that I do, but I've made it an effort to try to protect not just my kids, but for everybody, right? Like I go on my channel, guys, and I talk about being selfless and thinking about other people, and that's what this pandemic is about. It's not just about you; it's about other people.
Now, what is your channel so that people know?
Say what?
What is your channel? It is,
Positively Cheyenne.
and you should go check it out because
I will be positive again shortly.
you're miserable right now, but but
Yeah, so I'll get back to my story, but yeah, no, my channel is just about, it's not one dimensional. I talk about a lot of things. I am a very glass half full kind of person. I like to see the positive things in life. Just because there's so much bad out there, and it's easy to get sucked into the negative stuff. And so I always try to be positive and, try to give a friendly word of advice and just a different perspective is all that it is. And so I just talk about different things. I go through things just like everybody else does. You guys have seen me cry on there and whine and bitch, and it's normal. Thank you, sir, for my cheesecake. You have a great night.
oh, you're actually getting cheesecake.
I did.
Wow. I thought you were just like, yeah, I just need some cheesecake and blah, blah, blah. But you're actually doing the
I'm
cheesecaking.
good. I'm at Outback Steakhouse and I ordered it to go. Don't judge me.
It's 10 o'clock. Are they still even open? Did you catch them 6
Yeah.
minutes before the end? Wow.
I ordered it to go at 9:30, so
Yeah.
they can't turn me away. They don't have a choice.
I do the same thing. I'm a really bad person when it comes to restaurants. I will show up 5 minutes before they're supposed to close and be like, oh no, I'll have a seat. I'll just wait. I'll wait.
Right.
I've gotten
They're
better
like,
though.
That's their way of getting you out. They're like, sir, if you really want the chicken sandwich, it's going to take 20 minutes. You're like, I'm cool with that.
I'm good with that. I'm good. I'll sit. You guys want me to help clean up? Give me the mop. We'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so my channel is just about all kinds of different things. I'm actually going to be coming out with a lot of other videos regarding maybe some veteran disability stuff, because now I work for a law firm. We specialize in veteran disability benefits. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, try to help veterans as much as possible, which I do want to just take a moment. I know there's so much going on in Afghanistan, and I know that it's affecting veterans in a big way. I just wanted to say thank you guys for your service. I know you guys are having a hard time because you guys have put forth so much, in Iraq and fighting this war. And it's just, I know it hits home to you guys. So I just want to say, if you need someone to talk to, I talk to veterans all day. And if you need, I gave my son a scratch off and he's freaking out right now. But I just want to say thank you guys for your service. We're scatterbrained as hell. Anyway, so go to my channel. You guys can email me. You can reach me there. Or if you guys do need veteran disability services, you guys can give me a call. I actually work for a law firm. It's called Hill and Taunton. I would say my phone number. Well, Walter, I'll text it to you, and then you can put it somewhere. But hillandtaunton.com, and then you guys can call that number, ask for Cheyenne. My extension is 162, and I can help you guys. So my advice I need tonight, right? I try my hardest for this pandemic, and then the other parent is like, doesn't believe in it so much. And so now my son really wants to go to school face to face. He really wants to go party it up and live his life. And he thinks that I am robbing him of a free, fun life right now. Although he's only been stuck in my house for 3 weeks. It's not anything major. But he told me the ultimate slap in the face. He said he didn't want to live with me anymore.
That's tough. That's rough. Ugh.
It is rough.
And he's 15, right?
He just turned 15. And let me tell you, too, he was exposed to COVID. My stepdad had a breakthrough infection. He had Pfizer. And my mother had Moderna. My mother tested negative the whole entire time he had COVID. But we were exposed to it the day before his birthday. So then his father did not want to have his party at his house because he was exposed to COVID. So I felt bad. He didn't have his little birthday party. And so I literally spent probably $500 on this in gifts and all this stuff because I felt terrible. And I don't know, I do a lot for him. And so it's been a really hard day because nobody prepared me in the parent manual for this day, where they're like, I don't want to live with you, you're terrible. But, I feel like I was doing the right thing as a mom. I think in this pandemic, it's the parents get to shine, right? Like, this is where, we always prepare them for life, and we give them guidance and stuff throughout life on certain topics. But, our job as parents is to protect our children. We want the best for them. We want to protect them even when they don't understand it. And so it's been, slightly a shit show today. So
It has.
I'm laughing, but Walter heard me earlier, and it was not.
Very upset. Very Very miserable. Not happy in the slightest.
I kept having to tell myself that I was too pretty for jail. That's what kept me in my house and not, making a scene and everything. So that was my day. And after a full day of work, just like Walter talks about, now that I work for a law firm, it's busy stuff, which I knew from him, but it's a lot. It's a lot going on, but I love it. It's fun. I love helping people. So I'm very, very fortunate for the opportunities that have been before me lately. But so
good.
I hope everybody is staying safe. I know this world's kind of divided right now, but You know, I don't push people for vaccines or not vaccines and all that other stuff, but just make the best decision for you guys and your family, and just stay safe and be selfless, please. Like, think about other people, and just protect yourselves, guys, because I don't know, just the years keep getting worse. Like, wasn't 2020 supposed to be done?
It's like a sequel. We got one more year to make the full movie sequel go. You know, we got the triple. Yeah, you know, we're gonna make it through. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You're still betting that Lambda's not coming here. I am betting that Lambda is coming here. Although I'm going to amend that and add on to that there will be a variant where the vaccines will likely not work. That's my belief.
It's called Delta, and we're going through it now. So.
Delta, kinda, but I mean like a full-fledged. It's sharply different enough to not allow those to actually, you know.
Crazy
yeah.
that I don't understand is, like I said, like my parents are the perfect example. So right now they're talking about all these studies about how people that got Moderna are, you know, having more protected against the Delta variant. I mean, my mom, like, I hope so. I think they have a great marriage. So they sleep in the same bed and they were kissing and everything else. And my mom never got it. And they were riding in the car with no masks on about 5 days later. And, you know, I gave her a piece of my mind, and, but she never got it. And so it's crazy because Pfizer was supposed to be the most effective of all the vaccines, and now they're the ones with the most breakthrough. It's just crazy how everything just is evolving, changing, and I mean, I know nobody really knows their head from their ass right now, but, you know.
I mean, I would say this. I work with the homeless every single week, and I'm interacting with them, and I work with people who, you know, have COVID, have had COVID, all that kind of stuff. You know, all I can say is this.
You're treading lightly with me right now.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's my job. I got to do that. You know, I support the homeless. I work with the homeless. You know, I work with the chronically, you know, homeless. I would say that, but, you know, I have to. If I don't, you know, these people don't have the capacity to fax. They don't have the capacity to email. They don't have the capacity to go and travel places. If I don't go there, it ain't happening for them. You know what I mean? The judge is going to go, well, what happened? I said, I didn't meet him at the homeless shelter. So then the claim can't continue. Can't continue that. You know what I mean? It dies. And, you know, I've been working with the homeless for 8 years. So, you know, but I do wear a mask, obviously, when I'm meeting with them. I do heavily utilize hand sanitizer every single day, all the time. But I will say this, that the big focal point is there's a lot of people still getting sick, but I'm putting my nickel down. I think we're going to see another variant that's going to be effective, you know, against the vaccines. I think that's going to be, you know, doing the same thing that Delta did, but worse. But, you know, keep in mind, we're going to the Christmas time area, the Hanukkah time area, where, you know, it won't be able to spread as easily. But remember, we're coming into heavy humidity time, which is September. September is the worst for that. September is the hottest month for that. Yeah.
But I thought that COVID survives in cold temperatures, not in hot temperatures.
I think COVID survives the best in, you know, basically lukewarm to room temperatures. So, you know, to me, if we've got a situation where, and that's the other thing too, we don't really know. You know what I mean? We don't definitively know what it does well with. You know, is this going to be like a tardigrade where it could travel? You know, we could flick a rocket into space, then we'll go to some foreign planet and kill everybody on it. That was an alien. We don't know. We don't know what its ability really is in a long-term sense. We don't know what. I'm getting kicked off the show, guys. The doggies need to go outside. I will catch everybody later. Have a wonderful night. If I didn't get to you, oh man. If I didn't get to you tonight, call me back next week. Every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Make sure Cheyenne has a better week by passing. Oh, God, the dog. Oh, goodness. Really? Okay. I will catch you guys later. Have a wonderful night, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.